everybody, and welcome to Week 9 of the high school football season here on Mirror TV on your YouTube channel. My name is Scott Franco. I'm joined again by Mike Boydum, our beat writer for all things high school football. And before we look at our 5 games here, we got a new cup. We were very excited. We got it last Friday night. Hadn't gotten a cup since, I think, like week 4. But as you hear the drum roll there, our new cup is from, how about we spare no special effects, the Glendale Vikings, courtesy of the AD up there, which I believe is Mr. Matchoff, and Spank Trexler, who's done a really nice job there. So this glass here wouldn't look nice next to some red cups, that we have no red cups still on week 9. And I've officially given up on ever getting a Tyrone cup until I get to my brother's house at Christmas time and just steal one. But we're going to leave the Bellwood Cup hasn't come yet either.
I am covering Bellwood Tussey Mountain this week.
So I
talked to Coach Lovrich, and he said he was going to bring it. No fries.
No fries in the cup.
We'll see if we get it next week.
We'll be excited because it'll be another blue to add to our color collection here. But speaking of Bellwood, a great transition by Michael over here. Our first game we're looking at is Bellwood Annis, Tussey Mountain, 8-0 versus 8-0. And again, I love to say stuff like this. Off camera, Mike and I were talking. I said, can Tussey Mountain win this game? They're hosting it. I picked them. Like everybody else picked Bellwood. Tussey Mountain, what do you like about their chances?
The thing that concerns me about Tussey Mountain is they allowed a lot of rushing yards to Glendale last week. And we all know that Bellwood can run the ball. Nick Plank, Zach Mallon, these are great backs that they're going to have to stop. Now, we know Tussey has plenty of talent on the offensive side of the ball. Caden Luco, in the inside, Jared Sipes and Tyler Rhodes on the outside. They have plenty of offensive threats. But the question I have is, can they stop Bellwood defensively?
And also, if you look in our Thursday paper, Mike's stats, the top 5 runners in the air, I believe Lucco is 3rd and Mallon is somewhere 5th or 6th.
He's in the top 10.
So that looks like that's going to be a really great game to watch and read about in Saturday morning's paper.
And it's for the Inter-County Conference title.
Yes, and like they played last year, it was 28-7 Bellwood, but
it was 14-7 late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Our second game is going to be an uphill battle for Altoona. They're taking on State College. State College coming. In fact, that's why, look at the special effects. That's why we have the 2 cups next to each other, because we know how to stage a show. State College coming off a loss at home to Central Dauphin, a game in which they had more stats than Central Dauphin, but the turnovers killed them. And Altoona's just got to basically find a way to survive in this game. How do you see this matchup?
Well, I talked to Vincent Niedermeyer Jr., and he says he hates to sound like a broken record, but they just got to work on the offense, and he told me they have to get their defensive guys lined up in the right spots and stuff like that. He just says he's worried about how many athletes State College has, but he's just going to concentrate on what they're doing and trying to improve what they're trying to accomplish. And one thing you worry about is Scott here always talks about teams being mad after a loss.
And they play better when they're mad, I think.
State College is coming off the loss.
And they're mad.
And they're coming to Altoona.
Well, Altoona should be furious then, because they're 1-7. So Altoona just needs to stay on the field offensively and keep that State College offense off the field. I mean, it's easy for Mike and I to say that, and these high school kids have to do it. But I mean, it's going to be a tough situation for the Mountain Lions. Our next game Huntington Central always have good matchups over the past years. Now they're playing for playoff spots. And is it 3A?
Yep, it's 3A. We got Huntington is trying to pass Central right now. Central's in the third spot.
They're 4-4.
And Bald Eagle area is number 1 seed. Westmont's number 2 seed. That's probably how it's going to shake out. So basically, the winner is trying to get a game against Westmont.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting match. I really don't know how this one's going to go down. Central has thrown the ball real well all year. Nick Troha has really thrown the ball lately well for Huntington, and they have Andrew Miller, who's a big wide receiver. Should be a good game.
And for me, as far as picking, it just seems like when I thought Huntington was going to lose, they've won. In the same way with Central, I can never figure out how they're going to do I think if they win this, they're going to be 5-4, and I would think they'll have that down because Huntington's going to be 3-6. Now Huntington plays Tyrone, and they'll probably be favored in that. Central closes with Holliesburg, but Central wins this. I would think they're going to secure that third
Yeah,
spot.
it looks like both teams are going to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of who's going to play the top seed.
Yeah, who wants to avoid both of you. Our next game is, and again, our segue to Glendale in the Cup. Juniata Valley at Glendale. Juniata Valley, really good. Good quarterback, Rupert. I mean, and Mike's
Big
stats.
game last week.
Yeah, and Glendale, Glendale's coming off the win at Southern Huntington.
The loss, Glendale lost to Tussey Mountain,
That's
but
right,
it was 26-23.
Yeah.
It really gave Tussey all they could handle.
Yeah, now Glendale's at home, and I think, again, I'm the only one to pick Glendale because I now have become a Spank Drexler, the coach up there, believer. What do you give Glendale's chances in this one, Mike?
Hey, Glendale's played two really close games up at Glendale against Claysburg and Tussey. Those are teams that were probably supposed to beat Glendale, but Glendale really gave them a run for their money. Maybe this is where they finally pull off the upset. They've proven they can run the ball against anybody, so it should be a good game.
And you've seen Juniata Valley; they're pretty big up front, bigger than Glendale.
Juniata Valley has Elliot Showalter, who's one of the best linemen in the area.
Our last game we're talking about real quick is BG at Chestnut Ridge. Chestnut Ridge undefeated. BG, I think, won two losses. Last year, as Mike pointed out in his preview in Thursday's paper, the BG beat Chestnut Ridge. And this year, again, BG's going to be the underdog in this one. What do you give them as far as chances in this one?
Well, BG just has to come up with some offense. Keegan Meyer came back last week. He's played the last couple weeks, but just sparingly. He has to have a big game because BG just doesn't have any breakout stars offensively, and they're going to have to score some points because if they shut Chestnut Ridge out this year with Logan Pfister, the way he's playing, that's going to be a real nice feather in the cap for Bishop Guilford.
And do we know if Kesey Wetter's quarterbacking?
As
of this taping,
John Hartsock's handling that preview. It's going to be in the paper on Friday, so we'll probably have a better idea by then.
And our last thing we want to talk about before we say goodbye for this week is the amount of forfeits going on in the area. Earlier this week, Phillipsburg Osceola canceled their last two games because they don't have numbers. And then Mike just found out it's Wednesday when we're taping this. Tell everybody about Bishop Carroll now.
Bishop Carroll is not playing against Bellefonte this week, and Portage will also not play this week because Conemaugh Valley has forfeited. So that's going to put Portage into the Appalachian Bowl against Ligonier Valley because they win the tiebreaker to win the West Pac, to represent the West Pac in the Appalachian Bowl. But real concerning about all these forfeits right now. What do you think, Scott? You have kids that play football. Like, is there just a problem with
I think kids nowadays, I'm going to sound like the old guy here and everything, it's just too hard. Kids don't want to work. Kids don't want to run. They just want to show up, play, and then go home. And it's more that. It's now 12 months. And I think soccer numbers have taken away these smaller schools. I'm always surprised that Bishop Carroll has a soccer team and a football team, and they're a smaller class school. Same way with Conemaugh Valley, though. Conemaugh Valley's never had the problems that I know they've had this year. Phillipsburg Osceola, there's another one. I mean, I grew up, Phillipsburg Osceola always had 40 to 50 kids. They don't have that anymore. You're going to get to the point where you're going to start having school districts and co-ops just so they can have enough. I always feel bad for Williamsburg not even having those low mid to 20 numbers.
And Phillipsburg has a great golf team, which is the same time.
How many kids are on that golf?
They have a good amount of big kids on that team, and Bishop Carroll has a good soccer team. We saw Hudkins break the school record there. So maybe it's just tough to balance, having two great programs at the same time.
Well, I know at Holliesburg, and I don't mention names, there's 3 kids on their golf team that played football in junior high who would be good football players, but they play golf now. So, I mean, maybe kids just don't love football the way they used to. When I'm 54 years old. I grew up, there were always lots of numbers for football. But let's hope that those numbers improve for PO and for Bishop Carroll next year. For this week's show, we're hoping we can get some red cups. I'm just tired of begging. We might have Sarah, our director here, just maybe Photoshop in a red cup. I'm going to bring a green cup. She's going to put a red logo on it, maybe make Central Cambria or Central feel bad. But for Mike Boydum, I'm Scott Franco. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.